the things that I have missed! The Black Plague! The Brady Bunch reunion!
Excuse me, Mr. Ooze, sir? Which Brady Bunch reunion are you talking about? The 1976 Brady Bunch Variety Hour? The 1981 Brady Brides spin-off about Marcia and Jan sharing a house with their husbands? 1988's A Very Brady Christmas? Or 1990's dark and gritty revival The Bradys where Bobby is paralyzed in a race car accident? You don't know, do you? Fake fan. But I'm actually here to talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie in this bonus episode of the all-new Mighty Morphin Rangers, I guess. Over in Dragon Ball Dissection, I'm spending the summer talking about live-action Dragon Ball movies, so I might as well continue the theme here. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. It turns 30 years old today, actually. Yes, the inexorable march of time makes fools of us all, reminding us how much closer we are to death with each passing moment, while tickling the pleasure receptors in our brains to remember a time when going to see Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie in theaters was the most important thing we ever had to worry about. Before I spiral into complete existential dread, let me just get to the point. In case you're new here, welcome! This video series, Mighty Morphin Zyurangers and its successor, OZO, are all about comparing things. Typically, it's comparing Power Rangers to its Super Sentai counterpart to see which show does its respective episode better, given that they share the same footage. Now, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie does not use any Sentai footage, although its new Zord designs come from Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger. However, contemporary reviews of the movie opined that it seemed like little more than episodes of the series strung together. I'm not sure about that, but there is an easy way to find out. A few months after the release of the movie, the actual third season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the television show, began airing. And one of the first things it did was to push the movie off of a continuity cliff by basically doing the exact same plot as the movie across 4 parts, none of which I've seen before now. So here we go. I have found something to satisfy my compulsion. It's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ninja Quest parts 1 through 4. Which is better? Let's find out. And yeah, this is my original VHS tape from the 90s. The footage you're seeing is straight from my childhood tape. I don't own this movie on DVD or Blu-ray, and I'm not gonna for this video. Besides, where else are you going to find these vintage ads for cream of wheat color-changing Power Rangers spoons or interactive CD-ROM Power Rangers coloring books and video editors? It's like you're back in 1995. The broad strokes of both of these stories are extraordinarily similar, as they both exist to introduce the Kaku Ranger elements into Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. As such, both stories center around the Power Rangers losing their powers and having to go on a quest to find new ninja powers. A ninja quest, if you will. But when you dig a little deeper, you'll see that the specifics are largely the same too. The Power Rangers wow the audience through sport, a new villain shows up and wrecks the powers, the formerly powered Power Rangers have to travel to another world, the new villain sends out new foot soldiers to stop them, the Rangers impress a new mentor figure who hands off new powers, they return to Earth and fight off the menace with their new Zords. That's almost certainly not a coincidence. It's not as if these stories were written in a vacuum. Despite the movie and series being written by different people, John Camps and Arn Olson for the movie and Shuki Levy and Shel Danielson for the series, the general direction was almost certainly handed down from on high. I guess that's why it's rather shocking the movie fills in so many of these shared beats with characters who will never be seen or mentioned in the series. It's like 2 sets of writers were given the same Mad Lib sheet and just came up with different answers. New enemy? Ancient Sealed Evil? Rita's brother. Introductory sport? Skydiving. Volleyball. Quest location, Desert of Despair, Phaedos. Mentor figure, Dudley Do-Right, Battle Bikini. Foot soldiers, Tengu Warriors, Tenga Warriors. Okay, they kinda landed in the same place there. I've always heard that there was a rights issue with 20th Century Fox, which is why the show had to change the name. But can Fox copyright Tengu? I mean, Tengu already exists in mythology. Whatever. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie is a movie. Imagine that. So its main strengths lie in the fact that it is, in case you missed it, a movie. It prioritizes giving its audience a more cinematic experience regardless of whether or not it aesthetically matches the television show. The Power Rangers have new, more armored-looking suits. Those suits have new abilities like helmet lights and viewing scopes and a whip. And the Stego Stinger? You guys know his power is based on the Triceratops, right? The Stegosaurus is a totally different. The movie was filmed in Australia, which allows for a more urban-looking Angel Grove with construction sites and monorails. Lord Zed gets a new palace, the Power Rangers work out of a new, less impressionistic command center, Zordon and Alpha are redesigned, Zordon gets real mouth flaps. Both of the main Power Rangers fight sequences take place at night, something the TV series rarely does. Maybe it's done to hide the deficiencies in the suits, but it still looks really cool. Rather than stop-motion models, a lot of the effects are done with CG, which don't still look really cool. But hey, it was the 90s, this was state-of-the-art. Well, it was passable for a mid-budget kids movie. Okay, it's about on par with the CG from the Taiwanese Dragon Ball movie we just talked about. This is the first time I've watched this movie since I was a kid, but I never forgot this shot of the Bear Zord desperately trying to convince me it's a physical object. Look, we have gears! There are gears here! Look at the level of detail! It might as well be photorealistic! But that's still the biggest strength of the movie, its scope and spectacle. It's all the things you imagined the Power Rangers doing, but never got to see due to television budgets. The movie does a decent job of upgrading things without making them unrecognizable. Yeah, I prefer the TV suits, particularly the helmet sculpts, but I like the new look. It's a fun reinterpretation. The problem is that watching as an adult, it becomes incredibly obvious that the studio was not going to fly anybody out to Australia that they absolutely did not have to. I mean, that's expensive. In this movie, you have the 6 Power Rangers actors, and you have Bulk and Skull. That's it. Every other returning character is recast, which is understandable. It's barely noticeable given that most of said characters are wearing full body costumes that are dubbed over with their familiar voice actors. I even get why, for expediency's sake, they'd condense all of the comic relief villains into, hey, remember the new guy? Mordant. It's really only noticeable with Rita, who is now up to her 3rd performer, although I freely admit I never caught this as a child. There's no high school, no juice bar. Ernie is mentioned once to help sell the illusion that this is the same Angel Grove you've always known, but he's never actually seen. But we do have Fred! Remember Fred, that beloved Power Rangers character who shows up and saves the day? Yeah, Fred. Yeah, Fred's awesome. Almost as awesome as Fred's dad! Conversely, if the Ninja Quest version has any advantage, it's in its fidelity to the series. Because it is the series. Everything looks and sounds like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and far more of its time is spent furthering its established storylines and characters. That's the primary difference here, and the biggest blow to the argument that the movie is an extra-long episode. The movie recognizes that it's serving a completely different master. It's telling the story of the Power Rangers triumphing over a new evil. Ninja Quest is setting up a season. Its evil isn't triumphed over. It's simply quelled until next time. Its mentor character doesn't serve a singular function and then piss off. He instead joins up with the heroes, but only after showing off how cool his toy is. Bulk and Skull have far more to do, but those doings have absolutely nothing to do with the main story. An indulgence that would be unforgivable in a film, but is only questionable in a TV series. While the movie certainly uses its bigger budget to great effect, the lack of that isn't what hurts the show. It's that the show struggles to create tension and stakes. Now, both versions ostensibly have the same central conflict. A new enemy comes into the picture and destroys the Power Rangers' powers. The devil, however, is in the details, and both versions choose different focuses for that conflict. The movie ratchets up tension by having Ivan Ooze break into the command center, deactivate Alpha, and nearly kill Zordon. Yeah, it's extremely similar to Tommy's introduction, but then again, there's a reason why those episodes are so fondly remembered. Here, though, it gives a sharper focus. The Rangers aren't just going to Phaedos to find new powers, they're hurrying to get the power to save Zordon's life. It provides urgency and emotional turmoil for the lead characters. Well, in theory. By contrast, the TV series focuses on the powers. It's the powers that are lost. We're sad about the powers. To its credit, the show puts forth the effort to make this matter. Since this is not a narrative taken from Sentai, Power Rangers actually produces its own footage to show the destruction of the Thunder Zords. And as far as that moment goes, they nail it. The falling body parts and strewn wires create a much more striking visual image than the repurposed Zyuranger footage Power Rangers had used a year earlier to represent the loss of the Dinozords. Heck, it looks a lot better than the Zords in the movie do. But what it lacks is dread. Rito Revolto is a hilarious character, especially how he always gets under Zed's, skin? By calling him Ed.
Ed, what's a decoy?
Fool!
But he doesn't pack the same sense of escalation as Lord Zed appearing and effortlessly sealing Rita away. Using Rito as a decoy only to ambush the Power Rangers with several monsters at once is a decent plan, but the fight never feels like anything out of the ordinary. In fact, this cocky line read from Tommy after Zordon warns him they're pushing the Zords too hard makes the juxtaposition of footage seem positively comical.
Ultimately strip you of your Ranger powers.
Oh, that's a risk we'll just have to take.
Let's see here.
Oh, whoopsie doodle! Don't you hate it when you try to be the cool guy only for it to immediately blow up in your face? I didn't even edit that. His powers blow up immediately after he says that. It's the most unintentionally funny part of the episode. But that's not what I should be feeling if I'm to believe this is the new unstoppable threat. So while I believe that putting Zordon at risk is a better way of creating drama than putting a bunch of robots at risk, the problem is more that the fight is just kinda lame.
That's a risk we'll just have to take.
The movie never shows the Thunder Zords. It mentions in the title crawl that the Power Rangers use Zords, but we never actually see Zords until the Rangers get the new ones at the end. And yeah, that's awkward. I have to give the show credit for demonstrating a more tangible loss and comparative upgrade. But I think the movie does a better job streamlining the whole thing. Elements like weapons and Zords always came across as accessories to the powers, not the powers themselves. Think about the Mutiny, the Season 2 opener. There, the Zords are lost and they get new Zords. The Zords are what are at stake, not their core powers. If I have a cell phone in a case and I break the case, that doesn't mean the phone can't work. But if I break the phone, the case no longer has a use. I'm not saying it absolutely can't be logically possible that the Zords being overpowered could result in the powers themselves shorting out. I think that's a problem I run into a lot in these videos, where people assume I'm examining logic when I'm examining storytelling. I'm just saying that putting these side by side, you can see how the movie communicates more with less. When Ivan Ooze trashes the command center, the Power Rangers lose their powers. At that exact moment, Tommy is using Saba the sword, which is acting independently of him and is physically separated from him. When the Power Rangers demorph, the movie throws in an insert of Saba disappearing too. In one shot, the movie communicates that when the powers fall, everything related to them falls with them. The Rangers go and get new powers, and all the accoutrements are included. It's to the point and simple to understand. And I think that's something that should be lauded, especially in a movie where you have to get to the point quickly. Beyond saving Zordon though, the movie provides even more incentive for the Power Rangers to get back home in a hurry. Every moment they're gone, Ivan Ooze is consolidating his power. He has plans and goals. He brainwashes the parents of Angel Grove to dig up his own Zords, the Ectomorphicons, which I'm pretty sure is a Ghostbusters convention. And once they're done, he has said parents slowly, very slowly, walk off a cliff to their doom. And it's not just any parents. This suicide pact includes the data fan favorite character Fred! No! Hasn't Fred suffered enough? Over in Ninja Quest though, while Rita and Zed have technically won, they don't seem to be actively doing anything. I mean, I guess we can assume they probably will do something bad at some point, but there just isn't any urgency for the Power Rangers to hurry up and find Ninjor. If only the great and powerful Fred was in these episodes, he'd light a fire under these proceedings. Several years ago, I read Roger Ebert's 1995 review of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. It was a deliciously vicious review. He only gave the film half a star. Even amid the endless criticism, one passage always stood out to me. The movie stars 6 teenage characters who have been marketed on TV and in toy stores. They have names, but no discernible personalities. None of them ever says anything more interesting than, "You guys!" They are color-coded products. I always remembered that line. It caused me to think about, maybe for the first time, the perspective of someone who was watching a franchise movie like this without the ability to fill in the gaps with their own context. Does the movie actually convey characters with distinct personalities? Or do I just assume it does because I watch these characters on TV? Is Roger Ebert being a hopelessly out-of-touch fuddy-duddy, or does he have a point? I made sure to pay attention to that this time, and I gotta say, Roger Ebert is right. The Power Rangers are almost completely interchangeable in this movie. I think most of us would agree that Billy is the best developed of the original Mighty Morphin era, the insecure nerd who grows into a reliable tech wizard. But if you look at him just in this movie, he's guy number 4. Tommy is obviously the leader guy, but that's about it. If you squint really, really, really hard, you might be able to infer that Tommy and Kimberly are romantically involved. But if you were to ask me who Aisha is, based solely on this movie, all I could honestly say is, well, she's the one with the flashlight on her head. Oh, wait, no. She's the one who has the emergency kick to the balls button. Okay, that's funny. It's still not a character trait, though. I think that's the reason why Adams
I'm a frog.
is so memorable. It's the closest the movie ever comes to displaying actual humanity through its heroes. There's really nothing internally for the heroes to deal with. They're action figures who were shuttled from point A to point B to point C to point D to point E, and that's it. Other than that, the Power Rangers are just quip machines.
Use, you lose.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
You know the funny thing about Morphin?
What's that?
You don't appreciate it till you can't do it anymore!
Aw, I wonder if that's what Billy would go on to tell himself during Power Rangers Zeo. Thank goodness for Ivan Ooze, who is definitely the standout character, just by virtue of being a character. I mean, it's Paul Freeman. He was in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He can definitely act, and he clearly understood the assignment. Ivan Ooze has a favorite food, and it is ham.
Woo! Where's my autograph book? Ladies and gentlemen, the ooze is back!
The Rangers aren't much more distinguishable in Ninja Quest, although at least Billy gets a few opportunities to tech and to hold a map. I've already talked about Rito as a villain. He's pretty entertaining, but the majority of the characterization in Ninja Quest is shunted off to the Bulk and Skull B-plot, that of them joining the Angel Grove Junior Police Squad. It's somewhat entertaining, even if it is just the same gag over and over and over and over again. They suck! While Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie doesn't really provide any internal challenges for the heroes, the planet of Phaedos does at least buffet them from action set piece to action set piece. They're pretty entertaining, be it the fight against the Tengu, the fight against the dinosaur skeletons, or the fight against the whatever the Guardians are. The story never gets bogged down, but instead stays crisp and fun. Ninja Quest's biggest problem is that it's boring as hell. And that especially includes the Desert of Despair. Almost nothing happens. Oh, there's like a line of fire at one point. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Tommy disappeared. Oh wait, he's right there. The only potentially interesting thing about the desert is that, as so it is named, there is occasionally a despondent wailing sound. Oh, that's creepy. I wonder whose moan that is. Will the Rangers have to save a lonely spirit or figure out the mysteries of the... No. It's just a sound spooky. It will never be explored. This might as well just be in any empty old place. I'm inclined to agree with Linkara's history of Power Rangers that Zordon might just be screwing with them by making them wander around outside the command center. It's not until part 4, after they come back, that dialogue finally confirms it's another planet. Once again, Power Rangers the movie is very focused about what it has to do. The Rangers get their powers, they return to Earth, they defeat Ivan Ooze, they resurrect Zordon, Day is saved, everyone loves Fred. In the series, everything gets bogged down. The Rangers get their powers, they fight Tengas just to show off that they have powers, then they leave the planet of the Desert of Despair to summon their Zords and fight Rito. They beat Rito. Day saved? Not quite. A little bit later, they realize Rito left a Vampirus egg on the planet of the Desert of Despair, and if the Vampirus monster destroys Ninjor's temple, they'll lose their powers again. So no sooner than they've gotten home, they head back to the planet of the Desert of Despair, summon their Zords again, and fight another monster. Ugh, this story meanders so much. And yeah, we have to watch them summon their Zords, full summoning, every individual character, twice in a single episode. The word of the day is padding. Then the weirdest thing is that each time the Zords show up, the Power Rangers disappear! I'm not kidding! They're not in the episode anymore! There's no chatter, no banter, no cockpit inserts, not even to have Tommy monumentally underestimate the danger they're in. No one makes any decisions or strategies, the robots just do their thing, silently, boringly. At least in the fight against Vampirus, Ninjor is there to quip. It's really awkward in the Rito fight where Rito has to narrate everything to nobody just so we know what's going on.
One target instead of 5? I can deal with that.
Obviously Power Rangers couldn't use Kaku Ranger footage to fill in the gaps here, their suits wouldn't match. But I guess they hadn't built their own cockpit sets yet, so this becomes one of the most awkward Zord fights I've ever seen. It almost makes me want to take back what I said about the movie characters only being quip-spewing catchphrase generators. At least that gives them some kind of presence. But, you know, at least the reused Kaku Ranger miniatures look better than 90s CG vomit. Let's score these suckers. For story, the movie delivers a far more focused experience, allowing for more fun along the way. I think I've already established why, so I won't belabor it. Power Rangers the movie wins. For characters, this is a bit tougher. The Power Rangers themselves are equally boring in both versions. The movie has fun antics with Ivan Ooze and pathos with Zordon. The show has fun antics with Rito and fun but repetitive antics with Bulk and Skull. That comes close to evening things out, but I'm still going to have to go with the movie. Finally, for action, while I can't enjoy the bad CG in any way other than ironically, it's still put to better use than Ninja Quest. From the wolf hanging off an ectomorphicon to the frog tying one up with its tongue, to the falcon saving the monorail and our best friend Fred, the technology certainly allows the individual Zords to do more. And that's not even getting into the other action sequences which are replaced with nothing of any interest in the series. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie wins with a clean sweep, and I think we have to be honest with ourselves as to why that is. It has Fred, the most popular character in the history of Power Rangers. I'm glad Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie won. It may be punching below its weight, but if it can't win on its birthday, when can it win? I also want to point out that between Ivan Ooze doing a W.C. Fields voice,
I'm sure that when you've tried it, you all will be believing.
Ninjor doing a Dudley Do-Right voice,
Time's up, and that's a lovely story. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
and Vampirus doing yet another Peter Lorre voice,
No army, just evil friends.
both of today's competitors seem to be designed around references that 90s kids aren't going to get. Unless you're me. I was already 80 years old when I was born and thought that Brady Bunch reference was the best joke I'd ever heard. That doesn't really tie into my score, I just wanted to mention it. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Lady Zeon for bludgeoning me with the idea until I agreed to it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and that little bell thing to see more videos about Fred and also his friends, the Power Rangers. I hope you'll support me on Patreon if you can. I'm just a small YouTuber, although I did finally hit 30,000 subscribers! Thank you so much! But without your help, how can I finally make good on all these Mighty Morphin offers like these Power Rangers LA Light shoes? Oh, damn, the offer expires on February 15th, 1996. I just missed it.